Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it's been like 10 years since me and the kids went to Mount Rainier. Yeah, it's been 10 years since we've paid to go camping. We're embracing the next chapter by simplifying our lives, exploring our dreams, and connecting with what truly matters.
In this video, we're going to show you the secrets to free camping all over the United States. So we were watching another couple on YouTube, and they're currently traveling the whole US in a van. And they had mentioned in one of their last videos that they just discovered this secret as well. So we thought we'd do this video and share all the nuts and bolts of how free camping works in the US. Stay tuned until the end because we're going to share with you 2 of the best ways to find some of these secret camping areas and how to scout out some of the best spots before you even leave home.
So just to be clear, we're not talking about stealth camping in a truck stop or a Walmart parking lot. We're talking about beautiful, secluded locations where you often have the place all to yourself. And this applies to tent camping, car camping, RV camping, overlanding, pretty much any type of camping you want to do. So Jenny and I actually first learned about this when we used to go hiking in the backcountry. And actually our first camping trip together was a 7-day canoe trip from northern Minnesota into Canada through the Boundary Waters.
The first one we will talk about is dispersed camping in U.S. national forests. But please take note, it's not national parks, but national forests.
So there's approximately 154 national forests in the United States, and almost all of these will let you camp for free in what the Forest Service calls dispersed camping.
Dispersed camping is basically camping areas without established services. So you might not have your bathroom facilities or showers and things like that.
Yeah, but sometimes we found that sometimes there's even, you'll have water spigots, and they can even be like old campgrounds that may have been, active campgrounds maybe 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. And now they're just letting them kind of, the land heal itself. So the campsites are there, fire rings are still there. A lot of this stuff is really still there. We've even found picnic tables at some of them, but you're not going to have those regularly attended services like some of the paid campgrounds are going to have.
In a lot of national forests, you can camp for free as long as you're a certain distance from the roads. And you really want to leave no trace. So like Lance and I, we try to leave it better than we found it.
Yeah.
The only downside we've found so far is when there's wildfires, sometimes they'll shut down the whole forest, and obviously then you can't camp.
But there's a positive to that, because there was one time there was fires in New Mexico, and I ended up spending the night in a place called Cimarron, New Mexico, a little small town, and ended up spending the night partying with the locals and the firefighters. And I wouldn't have got that experience if that didn't happen. So that was pretty awesome experience.
You can check with the Forest Service online, but your best bet is to check in with your local ranger stations, because the rangers are really helpful in helping you find amazing free camping areas that maybe only the locals know about. And remember, these are your lands paid for with your tax dollars, so we want to try to keep it beautiful for future generations.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, Jenny. And actually in Native American tradition, Native Americans believe that you can't really own land. Nobody can own land. It's really, it's all Mother Earth. And we just, have the privilege of kind of stewarding and taking care of that land for future generations. So it is really important that when we go out and do this, we're taking care of the land, leaving no trace, cleaning up after ourselves. We have to understand this is a privilege that we don't want to abuse. We want to keep these lands looking good so that our children, our grandchildren, and even our great-great-grandchildren can someday use these lands. So the next type of land we're going to talk about is called BLM land, or Bureau of Land Management land. And you can see around this beautiful land all around us here. The Bureau of Land Management actually manages about 247 million acres of public land that we can use for recreation. But the downside to that is most of it is west of the Mississippi. So if you're on the East Coast, there's not as much of it. A lot of it is out west, so you have to take the good with the bad on that.
These lands encompass wilderness areas, wilderness study areas, scenic byways, and conservation areas. BLM land is wide open for free camping areas, and it's also a good place for recreation activities like off-roading or target practice. We often find BLM land on our map or our mapping software.
Yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll actually go in and we'll get satellite imagery and kind of look in and zoom in and find like some unique places where you want to camp. So what is like mountaintops,
rivers,
valleys, anything. You can actually sometimes see on the satellite imagery places where people have actually camped before. So then what we'll do is we'll mark those, and we'll kind of do a map recon and see how you get there, mark the chords on the map, and then we'll go out and scout that area and actually see if that's a good spot. And that's actually how we found some of our favorite places. And stick around, because we're going to show you how to do this on the computer here in just a second. Yeah, and actually one of our favorite places to camp, this is how we found it, is in Sedona, Arizona. And it's this beautiful like cliff or shelf that's overlooking the Sedona Valley area and all the Red Rock area. It's so beautiful up there. Totally free place to camp, and it's amazing, and this is how we found it.
Yeah, I remember in the fall, we were literally on our hike following a herd of elk as they were bugling, and we were right up close and personal.
Yeah, it's nothing like waking up in the morning and there's literally elk 20 feet away from, you know, your tent or your Jeep, and hearing those elk bugling. It's pretty amazing spot.
The last area we'll discuss are wildlife management areas, and that's just what it sounds like. So areas for wildlife and game management, usually by each state's Department of Natural Resources. While many of the websites will try to steer you towards the paid campgrounds, there's also usually some dispersed campgrounds. You just need to know who to ask and where to go.
Yeah, when I was in Texas, I actually stayed in a great wildlife management area. It was a bluff like overlooking a lake, but this facility, they had showers, they had garbages, they had restrooms, and it was all free. It was really beautiful, but you just needed to know where to look, and you had to know who to ask to be able to find the place.
As promised, we're going to show you two of really great resources and the exact way that we find some of these amazing places.
Is using a couple of public websites and then also some ones that are a little less known, and some that are members only that'll give you access to campsites that probably a lot of other people don't know about. So the very first one, a lot of people use this one, and I've used this for years and I like it. It's called Freecampsites.net. And when you come in here, you can see this is the United States. What you're going to want to do is look for a location where you're going to want to camp. So I'm just using it as an example here. I put in Prescott, Arizona. So we hit that, and then what's going to happen is we'll zoom in on our map, and you can see here is Prescott, and it's going to show me all the possibilities to camp near Prescott, Arizona. So what you can see from the legend here is these green ones. All the green ones are free campsites or free dispersed camping where people have gone. The red are going to be paid, campgrounds if you want to go pay, and then blue could be if you need a special permit to camp in that area. But for this, purpose of this video, we want to look at some free stuff. So what I would do is once I find, some of these free ones, I'm going to start taking a look and seeing what are my options here. And you can just kind of click through. And the nice thing about this website is you can see it'll give you ratings. It'll give you a listing of what kind of facilities they might have, if there is facilities. And then a lot of times they will show you pictures as well of what the condition of the campsite might be in, things like that. So let's see, I'm just going to grab something here for reference. Old airstrip. This one has photos as well. So let's take a look at the old airstrip. So when you open this up on the new page, you're going to see now the old airstrip is probably just the name somebody gave this, and you'll see people name these strange things, Lance's awesome campsite or whatever. It doesn't really matter the name. The big thing is you want to figure out where this is located at. So down here you can see this is outside, probably closest to Morristown, Arizona. Here is your GPS coordinates, which was probably the most important thing to have when you're looking for this. And as we talked about, this is BLM land that you can go stay on. They give a good description. It says the road is gravel, 7 miles from a paved road. It's open 365, 24/7. There's 6 to 15 campsites at this location. And it's saying that the maximum RV length is unlimited. So this actually would be able to take RVs as well. So if you're doing RV camping, this is reviews. Last person that gave a review was in 2018. But the thing I like is really looking at the pictures. So you can see here, these are different pictures of what this site looks like. So it looks like it's overlooking kind of you've got a lake area there. Obviously this is high desert because we're in Arizona, but for the most part, this looks like, not a bad place. Like we said, a lot of these places, you're not going to have a pool, you're not going to have all these things, but if you're boondocking or you're just trying to get out and get to a secluded location where you can see the sunset, and have a great night, these places will work. So this just looks like a huge, it's an old airstrip, old gravel airstrip where you can pretty much go anywhere you want. So that is through Freecampsites. So the second website I want to show you guys is called Campendium. And Campendium has a similar setup. It's just that you may get more options on one site versus the other. So I tend to look at multiple websites to try to get the most options I can. So again, let's kind of zoom in here. We said we wanted to stay in Prescott. So let's go up to Prescott, Arizona. And you can see here now I've got, again, green are going to be my free options. So I'm going to look at some of these different ones and figure out what do I want to explore a little bit more. And if you're one of those people that you're not into roughing it, you're more into glamping. A lot of times they'll say on here, hey, I got cell service or there's Wi-Fi nearby. Those types of things. They'll actually give you a decent rating of what's available in there. So I'll just use this one, Senator Highway, as an example. So again, Senator Highway, Prescott National, this is the National Forest, and you have your GPS coordinates right here. And then you can also see there's 4 pads here. This is dirt. Here's the elevation. You can actually, they're saying you can camp with a tent. Amenities, doesn't really look like it's dry camping, dispersed camping. There's fire rings, and then it looks like there's recreational trails. So if you want to do off-roading or take out your OHVs or something like that, you can do that as well. Let's look again. Here's pictures, actually a lot of pictures in here that you can kind of get an idea of what these look like. And you can see from these pictures, there's people with RVs getting in here. So this is not a bad, there's one fire ring still there. So this is, not a bad option. Now, what we tend to do is once we go on these websites and we find something that maybe we're interested in doing, is we'll then get the GPS coordinates, and then we're going to go over to Google Maps, and we're going to punch those GPS coords into Google Maps, and then we're going to start doing a little bit more of a map recon of the area we want to stay in. So this is that area of Senator Highway. You can actually see there's some Bible camps, there's some other campsites and stuff in here. So this is probably an area where a lot of people camp. So what I do then is once we get the GPS coords, I'm going to start looking at some of these trails and places that I might be able to get in and do some dispersed camping. So I'm zooming in here, and I'm sure everybody knows how to use Google Maps. You can switch to 3D view if you want to look at elevation and that type of thing, but that's neither here nor there. So you can see here, this is a dirt road or a trail, and then you can see this little pull off here. So this looks like an area where you could probably pull off, get in here, and do some dispersed camping. You might be able to get an RV in there. Here's another location right here. You can see a pull off, turnaround, a couple of trees for some shade, but this is probably an area where you can go in and disperse camp. And again, the thing I like with these areas and looking on the satellite imagery, you can actually see places like this and like this where people have stayed. So people have been out there, they've stayed there. It's kind of somewhat established. You're not just camping out with the rattlesnakes, that type of thing. Again, you can come up and look at maybe some of these areas. Here you have kind of a trail that goes off on its own here. So I might come back if I want to do like secluded, I want to get away from everybody. I might look at taking this trail and coming up and seeing if I can camp up in this open area right here, or this area right here. But that just gives you an idea. It's a way of looking at these. And what I would do then is if I see an area I like, I'm gonna get the directions or get the GPS coords of that specific location, and then the next time we're in that location or when we're traveling there, we're gonna go out and we're gonna take a look at this and see if this is an option for us. Now, again, these are the free options, and the thing that we've noticed with a lot of these free public websites is that while they're a great resource, that everybody knows about them. A lot of people know about them. And especially with COVID going on, a lot of people have been going out camping. So, some of these places on Campendium or free campsites, they may look great, and then you get out there and there's people everywhere. So what you want to do is you want to have some backups. And so we've actually had a couple of other websites we've used, which we've had some success with. So the first one here I'll show you, this is called Hipcamp.com. Now, Hipcamp has kind of switched over to a paid website now, but they do have free and Dispersed campsites on here. So again, same thing with Hipcamp. Type in, the location that you want to take a look, and then you can, filter out options. This has also got, Airbnb and all sorts of different options on here. Some of these are places where it might be the people just own the land and they're willing to let you camp on their land for, $5-10 a night or whatever. So you can look at these options as well. This will give you some more options. That's Hipcamp. And then the last one I want to show you is one we've talked about before. This is a membership site called Overland Bound, specifically for overlanders. So you do have to pay a one-time membership fee to become a member, but then you get access to their features and all their meetups and things like that as well. So this is, you can see on Overland Bound, same thing. Here's Arizona, this is Prescott. And what you can see on here is somebody put a campground and some GPS cords in here. Fortunately, doesn't look like there's any pictures for this one. But the nice thing we found about the membership sites that's different from the paid sites is a lot of times these are people who they go out and they scout these areas themselves. They find these locations and then they're sharing them with the community. They're not necessarily putting them on a public website where everybody knows about it. It's really just kind of a members only access thing. And you can find not only great campsites, but trails and maybe dump stations or places there's potable water. A lot of people put those things on these websites as well. So I think it's a really handy resource. And I'll let you know that most people, their favorite secret campsites, they're not going to share publicly because if what happens is if you share it or you put it on the internet, everybody's going to go there. So like our secret spot we talked about in Sedona, I'm not going to share that with anybody because I know then the next time I go up there, there'll be 50 people trying to camp on that location. So you have to keep that in mind with the free websites that you may have some traffic and some competition for websites, but overall it's a great resource. So guys, I hope this helped you guys out. I hope this explained it a little bit more in detail. I don't want to get too down in the weeds. You guys just need to kind of mess around with these websites and figure it out on your own. But like we said, we've used these methods to not have to pay for camping for 10 years now. Again, yeah, you're not going to have a swimming pool and Wi-Fi and all those types of amenities, but for what we like to do is we just like to get out and get away and unplug and have just a great night of some seclusion, maybe a sunset, roasting some marshmallow, having a few drinks. That's what we like to do. So this works really well for us. So guys, if this was helpful for you, we ask you guys, please check out some of our other videos. We've got our overlanding playlist where you can go in and see all of our overlanding videos. It's kind of a basics of what is overlanding, how do you get started in overlanding. If you want to build an overlanding vehicle, what's the step-by-step method of, what should you do first and second and things like that. So please go check those out.